I need to get these dried off, but I have these things in a brine. And so all I need to do is pepper them just a little bit. I don't need any more salt on them, and I don't want any other seasoning on them because I want a chicken to taste like a chicken. I don't want a chicken to taste like something else. Okay, I've just about got these patted dry here. As soon as that oil gets hot enough, I'm going to step up over here and I'm going to flour it and, well, I'm going to go ahead and pepper it. Okay, what I'm doing here now is because I've had this chicken in a heavy brine overnight, it is completely already seasoned. I don't want, as I said earlier, I don't want it to taste like something else. I want it to taste like chicken, so I've got it salt and pepper, and that's all the seasoning I'm going to use. I'm not going to try to make it do anything it don't want to do. Most of the time, there's so many people that they just drowned everything in some kind of spice or seasoning or just all kinds of different things, and it really don't do a whole lot of good. It just kind of piles up on the outside. So if you like that kind of thing, what you need to do is put it in your flour, because it won't penetrate the meat of the chicken. All right, as you can see, I like a little bit of heavy pepper on them. I like a little bit of spice on them. Let's check our oil and see what our oil's coming up to. Okay, we're getting there. We're coming on to 300. When we get to 350, we're going to start frying. So what this is this is just plain flour. That's all it is. This is just plain flour. I hadn't added anything to it. As I've said now 2 or 3 times, this chicken has been in a heavy brine with salt and sugar overnight, so it is going to be well seasoned. And I'm gonna let the chicken shine. Now what I'm using here is to fry this is a Dutch oven. This is a 14-inch Lodge Dutch oven. I really like Lodge. I don't use Lodge exclusively, but there is some really neat things about Lodge. First off, they're made in America. And another thing that I like about them real well is their consistency. They are very consistent. They have a tendency to be extremely uniform. I can have a dozen of these and I don't have to make sure I got the same lid on the same pot, because I can interchange lids. And they're very consistent in the walls. Some Dutch ovens you see will be an 1/8 inch thicker on one side than they are on the other, especially some of the old ones. But I love Dutch ovens, period. I do all kinds of things with them. I bake in them. I can do a wedding cake in a Dutch oven. Anything that can be done in a conventional oven in your house can be done here. The only advantage that there is, period, to cooking indoors is being able to control your environment. Now, today it's windy. I had an intention on doing everything on real wood today, but because it's so windy, I'm back to cooking on propane. But we use everything to our advantage. A lot of times I'll do stuff like, I use a lot of woks. I have several big propane wok burners, and the Chinese kind of perfected that style of cooking years and years ago, and I've just kind of adopted it, because that style of cooking was originally designed to do on real wood. It really works on real wood, and just like the Dutch ovens do. So let's see what our temperature is now. All right, we're ready to start cooking. Okay, so I'm going to uncover my flour here. Now I'm gonna start cooking my thigh pieces first, because they're going to take longer to cook. And I'm just going to drop them in there, and I'm going to try to keep my hands out of it. get them well floured. And since I'm outside, I don't have to worry about what happens to the extra flour. Now I'm just going to go ahead and drop that in there. Then I'll get some kind of an idea about how my temperature is dropping. Now I'm going to drop the legs next because they'll take the next longest. For some reason, dark meat always takes a little longer. When I was a kid, we didn't have tongs. I don't know if they hadn't made them yet or we just didn't know about them. But first time I seen a pair of tongs, my grandmother had already quit cooking. And I thought, boy, that grandma sure would have loved those. And the first pair of tongs that I saw was a lot like the ones I'm using today. I have several others, but I kind of like these because if Grandma would have had a chance, this is what she would have been using. Now I am using peanut oil. I don't know if I told you that before. I prefer peanut oil. I know that there's a lot of people that have peanut allergies. But if you have a peanut allergy, you can, I'll recommend grapeseed oil, safflower oil. I rarely use canola oil or extra virgin olive oil. You know, if you cook with extra virgin olive oil, it's really not extra virgin anymore because the whole point of it is it's pressed cold. And once you get it above a certain temperature, it's just olive oil. And I have found no reason to cook with it when I have so many other alternatives. Of course, to tell you the truth, just regular old lard is one of my favorite things to cook with as well, especially when I'm frying potatoes or something like that. Now you can see there why I used a 14-inch oven, because to put that whole chicken in there the way I've got it cut up, well, let's check our oil and see what temperature we're down to. Putting all that chicken in there is going to drop it considerably. I'm still up to about 280, but it'll start to climb fast now. I'm going to turn one of these thighs over and peek just a little bit. It's coming along quite nicely. I'm going to give that a couple more minutes and then I'm going to turn it. I'm going to lay some paper towels down in that pan to kind of absorb any extra oil. And I've switched tongs. Because the other one had raw chicken on them. That ain't quite ready yet. I really do like these newer tongs. They have such a long handle, and they keep you, I feel safer, further away from the fire and oil. I have had some severe oil burns. When it gets back up to about 350, that chicken will be done. Because what it's doing now is it's cooking the moisture off. And as it begins to get done, you see all these bubbles and everything that's coming off. Now that's actually insulating the chicken, because what happens is there's a layer of steam between the chicken and that oil. The chicken is actually steaming at this point. It's steaming in its own juices, which is something that I prefer to do. So fried chicken is really not as bad for you as you would think, especially if you use a good premium oil. The chicken does not come out oily or greasy at all. And as you can tell, I'm fixated on this chicken. There's very few things in my mind any prettier than a pot full of frying chicken. Okay, this is starting to get done. That first thigh that I put in is telling me what I'm looking for here is an internal temperature of 175 on my dark meat and 160, or maybe just a little over 160 on my white meat. Anything that's bone in, I like to really check close. I'm going to double check this piece one more time here. Yep, it's done. Okay, let's see what else I got here. All right, this is starting to be done here. I'm going to go ahead and turn this chicken over and just get that one side just a little bit more crisp, and then we'll pull it. $162, you can't beat a deal like that. That's a piece of that breast meat. And you can see there how that tip that I cut off in this piece is real close to the same size. And they're still very nice, substantial pieces of chicken. 162 again. And there's the front back and another leg. We'll just go ahead and test it just to make sure. And that piece I know is done. Now I'm going to turn this fire down, way down for a minute. And I've got some boneless, skinless, thick chicken thighs. Now, the reason I really, really like these boneless, skinless chicken thighs, because I can just cook up a whole bunch of them, and you know, cold chicken is good, but at the same time, I can use these things once I've got them cooked and fried. I can use them in almost everything. You know, they make a good stir fry. You can slice them up and make a good stir fry, or you can make a sweet and sour sauce and turn them into something resembling Hawaiian chicken, and they are just absolutely fantastic. You can put them on a sandwich, make get a couple of hamburger buns and some mayonnaise and some lettuce, and they make a wonderful sandwich. And they are quick, they are easy. Now, I've got a little bit of a different batter that I'm going to use with them. What I'm going to do is, my last video I shot was about, I made chili for you. Now in this right here, I've got my chili spice. I don't know if you can see the color, but this flour has got a little bit of a red tint to it. And what I've got here is I've got a cup of flour, a cup of just regular all-purpose flour. The protein on regular flour is like 10-12. And I've also got some self-rising flour. I've got 1 cup of self-rising flour. Now what that'll do is that'll help them to puff just a little bit. I don't want them to puff much. And I got a 1/4 cup of my special seasoning mix. Now, these I also brined, but I've rinsed these, and I only brined these for about an hour. I didn't brine them any more than that. Now I'm just going to start laying these things out in here crossways. I'll start with about 4 at a time. Snap the lid on it and just give them a good shake. Okay, I'm going to check my temperature. Let's see what our oil is here. Okay, I'm at 355. So I'm good to go. So I'm going to start frying here. All right, the skin's not on these, but I'm still putting them in skin side down. I'm not doing anything to them. I'm not trimming them. I'm not taking any of the fat off of them. All right, I'm going to do 4 more of those. Now these cook pretty fast. And I wish y'all could smell these. That spice mixture coming off of them is just fantastic. Okay, once again, you see the advantages of a big pot. But for me, by no means, this is a big pot. A lot of the pots that I cook in hold 30 gallons. Okay, now to keep my chicken from getting cold, it's had time to kind of soak up. I'm going to set it inside the smoker. I got a low fire going in the smoker, and it's running right around 250 right now. So I'm going to set this right in the smoker, keep it warm, and at the same time it'll put a little smoke on it. Okay, let's turn that fire back up again. Okay, I'm pulling this chicken. I have 8 pieces here. I'm going to go ahead and add this to my chicken collection. Keeping it warm. Okay, I'm dropping these 4 more pieces, and I don't know exactly how many I have left over there, but I'm going to try to get them all in there. All right, last batch. I've never been able to figure out why, but there's always one piece of chicken that's stubborn. It's slower to cook than the rest of them. Okay, I'm going to start. There's that last piece of chicken. I'm going to turn this fire way down. Okay, now I've got all this chicken done. I'm going to drop this in the smoker real quick. Now I'm going to cook one more thing, and then we'll sit down and taste some chicken. All right, after cooking all this chicken, what I have here in this pot is a little bit of oil and a dark roux. It's just kind of a roux that's just kind of made itself. Just the drippings in the bottom of this skillet. So I'm going to pour off all this extra oil. Okay, now, like I said many times, I don't really measure much. I just kind of go by sight. Just going to add a little bit of flour to that. Making gravy. As I said earlier, this was a very dark roux, so this gravy is going to be a little darker than what you're used to. While that's coming up to a simmer, I'm going to go ahead and plate us up some chicken. What do you think? You like white or dark?
I'm only going to pass because I want to keep my hands clean while I'm filming.
Okay, well I got a knife and fork here.
We're good.
All right.
Oh, that's looking pretty good. So what is this?
That's cowboy gravy. That's just what's left over in the pot.
Yes, 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 yes. Yes, 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 yes. Yes, yes, yes. I have all boys. We had a girl, and she was kind of very protective.
Yeah, that's going to break.
She was very protective.
I have to go get a whisk. I think it's going to break on me. Had too much oil in it. There you go. We're ready to eat. Y'all want to try some of this with me? I wish everybody could be here with me, because this sure looks good. I'm just going to try just a little bit of that gravy. Let's see what we think here. Now what I have here, I have that white meat, that breast tip that I cut off, and I have one of these boneless, skinless chicken thighs. Now, generally what I do is I'll just cut it up into strips like this. And from this I'll add it to stir fries, almost anything. Yeah, you can just go so many different directions with this. And let's see here, see what it tastes like. I'm telling you, this is really good. I'm gonna have another bite. Try it with a little gravy this time. That gravy's good too. Try a little bit of this white meat for all you white meat fans. You see how juicy that is? I don't know if you can see that from here. That is very, very juicy. And here's the thing, if I can do it, you can do it. So if I can fry chicken outside and make gravy outside, so can you. And there you have it. I have cowboy chicken and cowboy gravy. Appreciate you. That's it.